Today we are in Arches National Park. We are going to shoot Delicate Arch, and we're going to have just a little bit of time to be able to shoot that with the galactic core, with the Milky Way inside of it. Now, it gets dark. The galactic core comes up about 9:15-ish, and then it's going to be setting or the galactic center will be setting about 10:15-ish. So we're going to have about an hour to shoot, which means that, and then the sun comes up. So the sun's going to, the moon is going to come up. So the moon comes up about 11 o'clock. So we're going to have just a little bit of time to be able to shoot that. Hopefully we get something pretty cool. And I don't know what to expect from the other photographers. Are we going to see a lot of other photographers there shooting? Usually they like to wait until we get closer to the new moon, which we're getting that way. But I won't be down here then. So we're going to shoot it and we're going to see what we can come up with. Let's talk about some of the precautions you need to take while you're out here. Number one, we're going to shoot in the dark. So we are going to need a headlamp. That way you can keep your hands free. Now you're going to want a headlamp that will be able to have the red light on it. And the reason for that is you don't want to destroy your eyes while you're out there or be able to see anything by using a bright flashlight. The other thing is there's probably going to be other photographers there. And you don't want to be destroying their stuff as well, their eyesight. So we're going to use a red light to help keep our eyes and keep our night vision working. A couple other things that you need to have is you need to make sure that you have, on a night like tonight, we're going to try to shoot golden hour, then blue hour, and then we're going to try to shoot some of the Milky Way. Now, with that, you should have a chair, which would be nice. I didn't bring one. I went and looked and couldn't find one in the stores in there. And I didn't want to bring out my camp chairs from our trailer because they're pretty heavy. They're nice and big and heavy, and so you're going to need water because it is a hike. And no, it's been a few years since I've been here, so I cannot remember how far it is. I'm thinking it's about an hour hike in and an hour hike back out. And then we're going to be there. The sun goes down about 6:30. It is 5:12 right now. The sun goes down about 6:30. And then we're just waiting. It's just waiting. And so things you're going to need, besides you need all your gear, preferably a wide angle, and then something that's going to open up as wide as it possibly can. Now let's talk about what you can be setting your shutter speed to, and your aperture, and your ISO. We're going to do manual color temperature, and I'll talk about this again later. Okay, now we're also going to be shooting with the rule of 500. What that means is if you take 500 and you divide your focal length into that, for example, if you're shooting on if your focal length is set to 25, you're shooting at what? Would that be? Let's see, 20. So basically what you do, if you're shooting at a 24, your focal length is a 24 millimeter, you divide that into 500. Now I'm going to make it easy and make it 25 millimeters. So 25 goes into 500 20 times. So that means at a 25 millimeter focal length, the longest I'll be able to shoot will be 20 seconds without getting some star trails and some blurs happening in there with the stars. So I'll be able to shoot that, and it should be okay. I am shooting on a full frame sensor. If you're shooting on a crop sensor, you're going to need to divide that differently, and it's actually going to be basically divided into 300 instead of into 500. And so your shutter speed that you can do will actually be a lot less than the 20 seconds. If you have a crop frame sensor, you have a full frame sensor, then you should be able to do that just fine if you're shooting at about a 24, 25 millimeter. Now that's a rule, and it's not exact. And it just kind of gives you a good idea of where to shoot or where to set your shutter speed to. Obviously, the longer you leave it open, the more light you're going to be able to collect. The more light you're going to be able to collect, the prettier that it's going to come out. Your galaxy, your Milky Way is going to come out and look really good. Now, that's why we're going to play a lot with the ISO, because we can only open up the aperture so far, and it's going to be a 2.8, and then we can only set the shutter speed for so long, so that means we're going to be playing with the ISO. Okay, now it's packed. There's a lot of people here, and it looks like that other parking lot is full. Okay, it's only about 1.5 miles, which is better than I thought. So I was thinking it was going to take me about an hour to get up there, but 1.5 miles is not that bad. Now a lot of it is uphill, so. Okay, I told you, 1.5 miles, not a big deal, not very far. It's kind of steep. Whew, I just walked up that first little hill and I'm already tired. I guess I'm not used to being so fat and having so much weight on my back. So we'll have to wait and see. But I was already out of breath just starting with that. So we'll have to wait and see how it ends up once we get a little further up there. And I have to admit it, that I'm used to making videos for you guys, but I'm not used to doing selfies where people can see me, and so I'm getting people turning around and looking at me as we're walking, and I kind of feel stupid just because I'm not used to doing this out in public. So, but my love for you guys. Okay, trying to find time when there's someone that's not going to be passing me. At the same time, I'm going to show you some of my gear I've got with me. I've got the tripod on the back, and I've got my great big huge pack. And in the pack, I brought my Sony, because you guys know I'm always talking about that. I brought the Sony, and I brought 2 lenses. I think I'm only going to use one, but I brought both of them. It was interesting because I packed and I went, okay, let's go as light as we could, and I took things out of the pack and got things ready to go, and then all of a sudden I started throwing everything back in. Well, what if I need this? What if I need that? You know, a few things that I left out were things like, took the flashes out, didn't need the flashes or the controller for that. Took out the 3rd lens out of there, didn't need that. So I've got 2 lenses. I've got one, it's a 2.8 aperture, which is a 16 to 35 millimeter lens, and then I've got another one which is a 24 to 240 millimeter lens. Now that 24 to 240 millimeter lens, the reason I packed that one with us is because it gives me a really good telephoto. Now it only opens up, when I'm at 24 millimeter, it only opens up to a, I think a 3.5, and it's variable, so it's not fixed. Even though it was an expensive lens, it's not a fixed aperture when you get as wide open as you can. Now the reason I picked that one though is because it went from 24 to 240 millimeter. 240 millimeter, it's pretty telephoto, and there's times that I might just want that. Okay, well, I'm going to turn this off because more people are coming. Okay. Oh, looks like I'm going to have to take a little slower than I'm used to. It's totally the elevation. Totally. It's the elevation. That's what it is. Anyway, I'm going to have to take it slower than usual. I'm going to turn this around so you can see everybody else coming down.
Like louder than the actual song is. So it's really annoying.
I'm going to keep going, but see all those people climbing up it? I like to think most of them are coming down, but I see a big group going up as well, so. You might be asking, why am I glistening up here? It rained. It just sprinkled really quickly. I know it doesn't look like there's a cloud in the sky, but there must have been. Whew. If you look back behind, you can see the big rock. Look at that, steps. So,
Yes. See where all the people are? That's where we're going. Because they're taking a rest and they're looking at the beautiful arch.
This is as far back as one. Oh yeah, it's a 55. Yeah.
You did. Are you happy you made it?
let's talk about what we see here. We got a lot of people taking that, and the sun is about to go down. We probably have another 15 minutes until it's down. It's behind those clouds right there. We have lots of people lined up. Now, I would think that these guys on this side, well, let's pan around. Those guys are all trying to get the sun shot, or the sun in it. Problem is when you turn an arch sideways, you don't end up with an arch anymore, you end up with a line. The other problem we're running into is, from this viewpoint, is how much of that arch can you see? I'm gonna switch position, and we're gonna see if we can get something a little bit different, so you can see that arch a little bit better. For a second, I want you to think about what would you do at this point? How would you do that where you could see it a little bit better? There's a few different things you could do, but think about that for just a second. And then I'm going to switch, and we're going to talk about what changed. Take a look at the contrast in between there. Do you see how that arch is starting to light up a little more? Because we're getting more sky behind it. So we're going to try to get down low so we can get more of that down behind it. And it's funny, everybody keeps looking at me like, is he a YouTube guy? Should I know him? Okay. Now, one of the problems we're running into, you're going to have to use a really wide angle at this point. But let's look around for a second. Now this is as wide as my camera goes on this one, so I'm going to pull out the other camera and get a few shots while we get that beautiful sun on it. So what we're looking at is, because we have so many people sitting there and trying to get up there, there we go, I shot a whole bunch for you.
Awesome. Hope you didn't miss
no worries. So because there's so many people up there, what I did is what we're doing is we're shooting a few of them, trying the lighting, try not to change the lighting too much. Okay, I still have it set to out of focus, so I might want to change that. Now that it's focused in, I'm going to change it down to manual focus. Right now, I'm at about a 30 millimeter on the camera. Now the camera goes all the way out to 16 and all the way into 35, this lens does. And we are missing part of that arch, the very top part, so I'm going to back it off so that way.
Thank you for the pictures.
You're welcome. Okay. So now what's going to happen is I need to pull out my my PhotoPills app. With the PhotoPills app, I'll be able to see exactly where the Milky Way is going to be and at what time. Now the sky is cooperating. We have a little bit of haze, but we don't have a lot of cloud cover, so that's going to work out really well. Okay, so I'm going to pull out the PhotoPills app and we'll see what we end up with. Okay, now what we've got, we're looking at this. It is currently 6:38. It says that the sun goes down, golden hour ends at 7:13, but the sun goes down. Let me go down to the bottom part. There we go, this end. So golden hour ends at 6:01, it says, or daytime ends, sorry, golden hour begins. And then what we're looking at is we're looking at when the Milky Way is going to come up. The galactic core is going to come up at 8:05 p.m. That's when the galactic core becomes visible, and it sets at 9:37. Now what we're looking at, let's go to the AR. Okay, but what we want to do is go to nighttime AR. Okay, night AR right there. Okay, so here's what we've got. Actually, it's going to have a tough time. I'm going to have to stop and then go back to it. But right now, that's where the galactic core is, right behind it. So I'm going to need to move over to that side, because in a little bit, when that sun goes down, let's see, where is it? Well, let's just watch it. The sun goes down, now golden hour's over. So that means I'm going to need to shoot from over there, which is not going to be the best place. So we're going to, because of the time of year, earlier in the year would have been better. It would have been back behind it. So I'm going to need to move over there to try to capture some of that. And so that time is at 7:15. So that's in about half an hour from now. Okay, now we're looking at sideways to see what we're going to end up getting. There's the galactic core right there. So let's go to about 7:20. So I'm going to get over there to see exactly where I need to be shooting in order to capture that galactic core back behind it.
Oh man.
That's a good spot. And that's
Okay, so here's what we're looking at. Right now we have it set up at 2.8. Now it's going to give us a very long shutter speed. Right now we're only at a 15th, an eighth of a second. I'm going to shoot that. People moving will end up being blurred out of there. Now as we continue to go, now if you notice, I set the ISO down to 50. That's going to allow me to set a longer shutter speed. So as soon as they start to move, I will. And if you also notice, okay, now they're going to move out. Now what happens is a lot of people clear out of here after the sun goes down. They think that that's it, that's the end of it. But we're going to continue to shoot afterwards. Now notice how when we moved down, we got some of the sky back behind it to help light that up. Now here's what we got. Now look at that. And this is absolutely gorgeous. Now let me shoot a couple of these. Oh, we got people going in front. Try not to get too lost. Okay, I know where I am now. These are the stairs. I found the stairs going back down. Okay, well let's talk about things that went well and things that didn't go so well. There were a lot of people there. You know, when you saw the things from earlier, a lot of people stuck around until later to shoot the Milky Way, and they were watching the stuff. And, yeah, it was just packed. And then everybody kept flashing their lights up on it. And as they'd flash their lights up on it, it ruined the shot. So I have a lot of ruined shots. Now eventually they all got what they wanted and they all cleared out. So apparently I have a little more patience than most people do. By the way, you don't know this, but that's a drop off down there. Afterwards, I saw some lights coming up and I thought, okay, I didn't know if they were coming up, or I just saw people hanging out, and you know, it just makes you nervous when you're out by yourself and you've got lots of equipment with you, and yeah, it just makes you nervous that someone's hanging out waiting to grab a camera or whatever I've got in my bag. And so seeing that light on the other side of the mountain, or the other side of the little mountain, made me nervous, because I'm like, I don't want to walk into something. So the guy came up and wanted to see my pictures, and friendly guy, but I was just a little too nervous about saying, yeah, I'm gonna pull my camera back out of the bag and let's yeah. So nice guy from right outside of Custer State Park. Oh, we got some people coming, so I'm gonna shut this down for a little bit. So that was fun. just ran into a group from Westlake. One of them had a Westlake sweatshirt on, and so I'm like, wait, Westlake? You guys are from Westlake? And they're like, yeah. Anyway, it was cool. It was cool to see them. Yeah, it's a small world. I guess we're all on fall break right now, and so now I've got the easy part. I think coming up here was the hard part. I think heading down will be the easier part. Well, it's quite a peaceful night. It's fun getting out and doing something creative. It's just something, there's something that just sparks in my brain when I get to do photography. Ooh. One of the tough parts at night is it's harder to see the drop-offs. Okay, I remember where I am now. There was somebody having tough time getting up that. Another one having a tough time going down it. Seems like we're about to hit the big smooth rocks. Or the big smooth rock. It's like a big hill that everybody was climbing up and down. I think I'm heading off the wrong direction.